1.
Aski Arukipana, and welcome to one of the lectures of the third module of the course Indigenous People at the United Nations. In this presentation, I would like to introduce first the Convention on Biological Diversity, or CBD, the Working Group on Article 8J and related provisions. Third, the tools and guidelines developed by the working group, and finally, a brief update in the current process of the new Global Biodiversity Framework, or GBF. The Convention on Biological Diversity, or CBD, is a legal binding international treaty. It is considered a framework convention to set guidelines and principles for the international governance on biodiversity. The CBD was signed at the Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, in 1992 and entered into force on 29 December 1993. As today, the CBD has 196 parties. The CBD reflects a global consensus among the international community to cover all aspects of biodiversity. At the same time, it provides a platform for the adoption of much more specific actions, such as target, timelines, mechanisms, strategic plan, tools, and many others. The CBD parties determined how most of these tools, goals, and guidelines should be implemented according to their national conditions. The CBD has three objectives. The first one is to promote the conservation of biodiversity. The second is the sustainable use of biodiversity. And the third is ensuring a fair and equitable sharing of benefit arising from the utilization of genetic resources. The CBD stresses the role of indigenous peoples and local communities in all the three objectives and in all the articles of the CBD to the extent that are relevant to indigenous peoples. The CBD makes a specific reference to their contribution in Article 8J on in situ conservation through the traditional knowledge of indigenous people. Article 10C on customary sustainable use of biodiversity. Article 17, exchange of information, including repatriation of, in this case, including the repatriation of indigenous knowledge. Article 18.4, technical and scientific cooperation, including indigenous and traditional technologies. The Working Group on Article 8J and related provision. The Conference of Parties, or COP, is the Convention's highest organ and the main governing body of the Convention. The Convention is a framework treaty. Many of the provisions require further elaboration in order to provide a clear set of norms and guidance to states and stakeholders to manage their biodiversity. In this way, in 1998, the Conference of Parties at its fourth meeting in Bratislava, Slovenia, COP4, decided to establish an ad hoc, open-ended intersessional working group to address the application of Article 8J and all related provisions that are relevant to indigenous people with the following mandate. 1, to provide to COP advice relating the implementation of Article 8J, traditional knowledge and related provision. 2, to provide advice to COP on measures to strengthen cooperation at the international level among indigenous people and local communities. And finally, to review the process of the implementation of the priority task of the program of work on Article 8J and related provision. In 2000, the working group held its first meeting in Seville, Spain. From 2000 to 2019, the working group has met 11 times. Its conclusion and recommendation has been played a critical role for COP, particularly for the protection of nature in hands of indigenous peoples. I would like to highlight some of the mechanisms of indigenous people in all CBD meetings. First, they are registered under the category Indigenous people and local communities in all CBD meetings. The second is the capacity building activities with a specific focus on Article 8J, traditional knowledge and related provision. And the third is a voluntary fund mechanism for the participation, again, in all meetings and processes of the CBD, including the working group on Article 8J. There are also specific characteristics of Indigenous people participation in Working Group 8J. This includes Indigenous people could nominate an Indigenous or local representative to serve as a co-chair in the meeting to assist the chairperson of the session. 7 Indigenous people and local communities representatives are nominated to participate as friend of the Bureau of the session. Indigenous people could also co-chair sub-working groups and contact groups within the framework of the Working Group 8J. And finally, Indigenous people and local communities have the opportunity to make intervention in all agenda items. Now, let me make an update on the current discussion of the working group. CBD will further discuss and address the new program of work of Article 8J and this institutional arrangement. This includes that the working group will discuss a new program of work that will determine the objectives for the implementation on Article 8J and related provision. As well, the conference of parties request the Secretariat to facilitate an online forum to exchange views on possible institutional arrangements, such as, but not limited to, the following. The first option is a full integration of the working group on 8J and related provision to all bodies of the convention. The second option is a continuation of the working group in its nature as a ad hoc working group with a revised mandate. And the third option is the establishment of a permanent subsidiary body on Article 8J and related provision. Before presenting some of the outcomes of the working group, I would also like to recognize the Indigenous participations through the IAFB or the International Indigenous Forum on Biodiversity. The IAFB supports the participation of Indigenous people and local communities at the CBD. It was established in 1986 during the third meeting of the Conference of Parties held in Buenos Aires, Argentina. The IAFB serves as a caucus for Indigenous people and local communities who met before and during the session of the CBD meetings. The IAFB responsibilities include discussion of the CBD documents and deciding on the common position. They also select a representatives to role as co-chair of one of the co-chair of the working group. And finally, they deliver a statement in plenary or working groups on behalf of the Indigenous people and local communities as a major group. The IAFB is recognized in various decisions of COP, including decision 5/16 of COP5, which is the first mention of the IAFB within the CBD process. Now let me present you some of the outcomes of Article 8J, of the working group, of the work of the working group of Article 8J. To assist parties in implementation of their obligation under the Convention, COP has adopted by consensus principles and guidelines to implement at the national level Article 8J and related provision. These adoptions are based in an in-depth discussion that took place in the working group. The first outcome is the AQUICON guidelines. These are voluntary guidelines for the conduct of cultural, environmental, and social impact assessment regarding developments proposed or take place or which are likely to impact sacred sites, lands, and waters traditionally occupied are used by Indigenous people and local communities. The second is the Tariwari Code of Ethical Conduct. These are voluntary guidelines and provides guidance to the activities or interactions with indigenous peoples and local communities for the development of local, national, and regional code of ethical conduct with the aim to promote respect, preservation, and maintenance of traditional knowledge. The third outcome is the Plan of Action on Customary Sustainable Use. These plans promotes, within the framework of the Convention, a just implementation of Article 10C at the local, national, and regional, and the international level to ensure the full and effective participation of indigenous people and local communities at all the stages of the level of the implementation. The fourth toolkit is the Motskuktal voluntary guidelines. These are for the development of the mechanisms such as legislation and other appropriate initiatives to ensure pre and informed consent or free, prior and informed consent or approval and involvement, depending on the national circumstances of indigenous people. 1. Accessing their knowledge, innovation, and practices. 2. For a fair and equitable sharing of benefit raising from the use of their knowledge, innovation, and practices relevant to the conservation and sustainable use. And finally, to report and prevent unlawful appropriation of traditional knowledge. The fifth toolkit is the Rosuligirisaki voluntary guidelines for the repatriation of traditional knowledge relevant to the conservation and sustainable use of biodiversity. The objective is to facilitate repatriation of that knowledge that belongs to indigenous people and local communities that embodies traditional lifestyle and are relevant to the aim of the convention in accordance to Article 8J and Article 616, paragraph 2 of the convention, to facilitate the recovery of traditional knowledge for the conservation and sustainable use, without limiting and restricting ongoing use and accesses unless under mutual agreed terms. Again, these guidelines aim to assist parties in the implementation under their obligation under the convention. Finally, let me briefly address the Global Biodiversity Framework. COP has agreed previously in 2 strategic plans. The first plan is from 2002-2010. The second strategic plan is from 2011-2020, which was adopted at COP10 in Nagoya, Japan. During the upcoming 15th meeting of the Conference of Parties, CBD will adopt a new Global Biodiversity Framework as a stepping stone toward the 2050 vision of living in harmony with nature. At this moment, the CBD is looking for consensus in important matters such as goals, targets, monitoring for the new framework. The role and participation of indigenous people in this process are very crucial at this very moment. With that, I thank you for this opportunity.